City News on TV Rotorua is proudly brought to you by Trade Central.
Good evening, Rotorua. Tonight on City News. Lakeweed and wallabies are hot topics at the Lakes Water Quality Society conference. Rotorua Skyline celebrates 30 years of entertaining locals and visitors. And Western Bay of Plenty kicks off their club rugby season this weekend. The Lakes Water Quality Society opened their conference today discussing lakeweed and the problem of animal pests in forested lake catchments. Society President Ian McLean says the conference is called Lakeweed and Wallabies and will discuss dealing with the issues in both practical and theoretical aspects.
And we're trying to bring together the best science from the world and from New Zealand and the best experience to develop a way of managing lakeweed in our lakes as well as possible. The next day is about wallabies and other animal pests around lakes like Okataina. And we've got people who are talking about the wallabies, talking about control of them, talking about who should pay, talking about how it should be managed, talking about poisoning, how that should be dealt with and consents. So that's the second day is wallabies.
Places are available for tomorrow's session at the Lake Water Quality Conference. Visit the Energy Events Centre. Rotorua Skyline celebrates an anniversary this week, marking 30 years of thrilling New Zealanders. Marketing manager Dave Blackmore says passengers from all over the world have been climbing aboard the gondolas since 1985. He says over the 30 years of operation, the attraction has seen over 8 million visitors.
No, we're really pleased to have brought up 30 years. It's a sign of a good, successful business, and we wouldn't be where we are today without the support of some of your viewers at home, I'm sure, who have come through.
Absolutely. I'm sure we all have memories out there of this beautiful establishment. Mine goes back to when I was 5.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's how most people start. They come along with their mum or dad and they try the luge out, most of them. Then they come back when they're in their teens, and then they come back in their 20s, and often they bring back their families, and now we have the grandparents bringing their grandkids back. So it's a nice cycle.
The 22nd Annual Rotorua Walking Festival starts tomorrow, with visitors being welcomed at a special mayoral reception. Organiser Derek Shaw says an exciting new addition to the festival this year is the incorporation of the New Zealand International 2-day walk. He says he's looking forward to hosting visitors, especially the first-timers, to our beautiful walks.
This is really a celebration of Rotorua and walking, and it's an annual event, and we attract people from all over the world to it, to come and walk with people from Rotorua and wider New Zealanders, and also, I guess, for them to to celebrate our wonderful sort of forest and lake and walkways in Rotorua.
And there is just over a week left for residents to submit their ideas on the Regional Council's long-term plan 2015 to 25. The plan will be finalised in June and sets out key challenges for the Bay of Plenty and how they will be tackled. The Council's consultation document, Thriving Together, which summarises the issues, was officially notified in February, with submissions closing at 4 p.m. next Friday, the 20th of March. In sport tonight, the Western Bay of Plenty 2015 club rugby season gets underway this weekend under a new competition format. This year, Western, Eastern and Central Bay of Plenty clubs are allowed to play a local round prior to entering the Bayfair Baywide Club competition starting in May. This weekend, last year's Baywide winners Te Puke Sports take on second place getters Tauranga Sports. Also playing this weekend are Rangataua vs Mount Maunganui at Te Aroki Park and Te Puna vs Greaton at Maramatanga Park. Rotorua Central and Eastern Bay of Plenty teams kick off next week. To your weather update now. Tonight, showers with easterly winds and an overnight low of 12. Tomorrow, Friday, cloudy periods with the chance of showers, light winds, a high of 23 and a low of 12. And looking out to Saturday, cloudy periods and a few showers, easterly breezes, a high of 24 and a low of 13. And the marine forecast for Lake Rotorua for Friday, Variable 5 knots, but northeast to 10 knots during the afternoon and early evening, with waves less than half a metre, and there'll be fair visibility in a few afternoon showers. Still to come in tonight's program, we find out about the Homestay Network with co-founder Julie Charity and homestay operator Althea Oldmer, and we take a look back at 30 years in operation with Skyline marketing manager Dave Blackmore.
City News on TV Rotorua is proudly brought to you by Trade Central.
Well, hello everybody, welcome back to City News. We have a beautiful view of Rotorua here in an amazing house that has been warmly opened for homestays. Now, what has that got to do with news? Actually, it has a lot. Standing next to me is Julia Charity. You may not have met her before, but I can tell you that this lady has raised the GDP of the country. Tell me, Julia, what do you do?
I founded New Zealand's Homestay Network. It's a really simple concept, and it embraces the number one standing in the world that New Zealand has for how welcoming we are for tourists. It's really simple. It's an online marketplace where guests can come and stay with hosts, a bit like this, in a home environment. It can be a self-contained unit, a homestay, or a bed and breakfast.
And how successful has it been?
We're now the largest and fastest growing homestay network in New Zealand. We had very humble beginnings here in Rotorua, but we're now nationwide, and we have over 270 hosts and homes and about 520 rooms all over the country.
Now, you haven't raised the GDP just by inviting guests to come and stay in beautiful places. You have been able to reach out to massive international networks, and some extraordinary things have happened. I'm going to let you explain what they are.
Okay, so because of our connections with Tourism New Zealand, we were invited to be part of a TV show. There were actually two TV shows. The first went to air in Korea, and the foundation for the show is about celebrity fathers. So 5 celebrity fathers and their 5 celebrity children every week undertake a new challenge. And at the end of the season, the 5 celebrity fathers came to New Zealand, and they stayed with homestay families. The Korean version of the show was so successful, and it went out to 20 million viewers. And actually, I ended up with my daughter and my partner being filmed in the show and on the other side of the camera, which was really entertaining. Apparently, my daughter's famous in Korea.
Oh, how gorgeous! How gorgeous!
Yeah. And with the success of that show, I kind of candidly and rather cheekily invited the Korean producer to talk to the Chinese producer, because there's a sister show in China with the Chinese celebrities, and I said, oh, perhaps you should get them to come out to New Zealand. So what happened is that the Chinese did indeed get in touch with Tourism New Zealand, and it was a jointly funded project by Tourism New Zealand and Air New Zealand, and they invited some of the regional tourism offices like Destination Rotorua Marketing, Hamilton Waikato Tourism Regional Office, to put together proposals about how, if the Chinese celebrities came to New Zealand, how we would look after them, and how we would make sure the children were safe and had a great time.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah.
Tell me what it was like to get that phone call that the Chinese were on their way.
Well, it was amazing. I mean, I think I was involved from the early inception of the idea. Certainly, I worked really hard with Tourism New Zealand to put all the proposals together. At that time, we were also scoping out Canterbury, so I was including homestay properties that the Chinese celebrities could stay at in Christchurch. But I was absolutely thrilled when I heard that it was a tight competition between Australia, Queensland and Rotorua in New Zealand. I knew we were in for the running. I also knew that when we did the director's recce, we had taken them to places that epitomise Rotorua. We exposed them to Māori culture, geothermal activity, and of course our beautiful lakes. And I think that makes really special viewing.
Absolutely. Now, there are some pretty astounding statistics that have come off the back of this project. The amount of people that mentioned it on social networks, that set a world record. Can you let us know what that was?
Yeah. I think we were lucky. I mean, this TV show is extraordinarily popular in New Zealand, and being in the season finale, it was watched by 404 million people viewed on TV in China. But then what happened is it went out to global satellite. So that meant that other Mandarin-speaking countries like Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, all the Asian countries were able to view it by global satellite, and that reached 1.4 billion people. And then we set a new global world record with the number of mentions on social media. It's a big number. 20 billion people mentioned this on Sina Weibo, which is like Chinese Facebook. So it was extraordinarily popular.
Absolutely, and that's where I say that this lady has helped the economy of the country, because that kind of exposure, what would that be worth in monetary terms?
Well, I think if you in two dimensions. First, if we look at the PR ad value, if New Zealand was to pay for an equivalent advertising campaign to encourage Chinese to come and stay in New Zealand homestays, then they've estimated it would be close to 169 million. The CEO of Tourism New Zealand, Kevin Bowler, has described this as being the entire budget for Tourism New Zealand. So this has set a new PR media record for New Zealand, and it's unprecedented really, and I think that kind of exposure is really unmissable.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
Personally, I'm really humbled to have been the project coordinator for this. It was an extraordinarily busy time. There were some 500 people involved. We had all the homestay families, we had 2 film companies, we had 2 languages, 210 people flew out from China just for the filming of these 5 celebrity families. And of course the tourism officers, the regional officers, and also the operators have all been superb to work with.
What an experience. Now we're actually standing in one of the homes that is very, as I said, warmly opened. So perhaps we could call our host over to come and have a little chat with us.
Certainly. I'll introduce you to Althea.
Thank you. Well, welcome back. Now we're joined now by this beautiful host. Can I get you to introduce her and we'll get to meet her?
Yeah. Hi, this is Althea. She lives in Rotorua and she's been hosting for Look After Me and does a beautiful job in welcoming both international guests and New Zealanders. So yeah, we specialise in lots of different types of accommodation, particularly in Rotorua, coming here for the new cycle trails or events or for business. So,
and why wouldn't you want to come to Rotorua? Hello, thank you so much for having us in your home. Can you tell me a little bit about what it's like to host for Look After Me?
Well, it's exciting really. You meet such wonderful people from all around the world, and I guess we sort of had an experience ourselves and worked overseas for a while, so coming back home here to have a place like Rotorua and just to let other people experience that, we realised how much there was here, and we like having people in our home and looking after them.
What is some of the feedback from the people who do come to a homestay as opposed to going into just your normal average accommodation?
I think what they like most is the fact that the hosts can tell them so much about the place, about the city that they're in, where to go, what to do. Whereas I was just telling one of the other girls that sometimes in a hotel it's fabulous, the staff are amazing, but they sometimes don't have time, whereas the hosts have time. And you can send them off onto your little favourite places. My husband's a mountain bike rider, so yeah, he can show them all the good tracks.
I think it's just a far more authentic experience, isn't it, in a homestay? Would you agree?
Yeah, I think that people are looking for experiential memories, and actually it's the small touches that make a difference. It is knowing that you can go out to the secret spot and have a lovely free hot pool, and that's the sort of thing that people remember. We had this one gentleman, he exclusively only stays in Hilton hotels whenever he travels the world. When he came to New Zealand, he actually booked his whole holiday through Look After Me, and he said that one of the most enjoyable experiences was spending $35 a night staying in a Buddhist monastery in Northland, and he said the spirituality around that place really surprised him, and it's he was so used to 5-class hotels and to spend so little in monetary terms, but to gain so much as a person, I think was amazing, and he just booked his whole holiday through Look After Me.
Well, that is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Just finally now, we're coming to the end, but what is your hope for the future, and with what has happened with this amazing connection in China, and also too with Look After Me?
I think when I started this business, I was started fairly small, but I always had a big vision. And what seemed to have happened is there is now apparently they're calling it a global hospitality revolution, and these homestay networks have sprung up all over the world. So there is a really big one in America. We are working very closely with the biggest homestay network in Europe, and we're looking at forming a code share relationship. And I would think that that this style of accommodation becomes increasingly more legitimate as a valued contribution to the tourism industry. I think that because of our involvement in China, we'll certainly be looking to partner with the big Chinese homestay network. They just had the good fortune to secure $100 million of investment, so they're certainly very serious about growing that type of accommodation, and that's just in the last few weeks. I don't know if it had anything to do with the popularity of the TV show. I don't know the internal politics of China, but they're certainly, I would certainly start to initiate a reciprocal kind of agreement that when Chinese come to New Zealand, they stay in our homestay network, and when New Zealanders go to China, that they can stay in their homestay network. And we know that all of the properties have been vetted, that quality is there, and it's really about exchanging cultural values and developing relationships.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you, Anthea, for your contribution. And go you, good thing, go.
It is hard to believe that it has been 3 decades since the first passengers have made their way up to the top of Mount Nongataha on one of the cableways. Guess what? It is their birthday. Happy birthday, Skyline. Happy birthday, Dave.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, we're really pleased to have brought up 30 years. It's a sign of a good, successful business, and we wouldn't be where we are today without the support of some of your viewers at home, I'm sure, who have come through.
Absolutely. I'm sure we all have memories out there of this beautiful establishment. Mine goes back to when I was 5.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's how most people start. They come along with their mum or dad, and they try the luge out, most of them. Then they come back when they're in their teens, and then they come back in their 20s, and often they bring back their families, and now we have the grandparents bringing their grandkids back. So it's a nice cycle.
And I tell you what, Rotorua, a little bit of a secret, they put on some wonderful Christmases up here during the Christmas season. Dave, let's go back 3 decades. What was here originally? What was it that was brought to Rotorua to enjoy?
So it's been a big journey. So initially this was farmland, way back in the right up until the early 80s. Our parent company, Skyline Enterprises, bought this land, and then we set up a gondola with most of you will remember, a little cafe or and there was a restaurant, then we built a restaurant. So we started from pretty humble beginnings, and on day one we launched also this product called the Luge.
The product called the Luge, which was a world first, wasn't it?
That's it, yeah. Developed first here, and the carts are still made here in Rotorua, and they're exported now to all our other sites, which is exciting, a great success story for Rotorua.
A great success story for Rotorua, absolutely helping to put us on the map. And where did we move to from there?
So we put in the Luge, and we had a bit of minor tinkering there. Some of you will remember some of those minor tinkerings. We started with one track only, and then we started and expanded that into 2 tracks and then 3 tracks is what we've got today. We had a product way back when called the Sidewinder. Some of you remember that, a stainless steel half pipe. That came in and went again. And then we moved into expanding things like the restaurant. So that was really the 80s, I guess, for us.
And every time you expanded or you put in a new addition, how did the locals react to that?
Yeah, we have really positive feedback. And even way back then, you know what, our number one mode of promotion has always been word of mouth. So we're lucky we've had lots of excited guests come through, they've had a lot of fun, and they've decided to come back again. So that's really what's how well it was received, I guess.
Absolutely, so well in fact that you've put in some gravity rides up the top, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So along came the Sky Swing, which is a really thrilling ride. I'd recommend anyone to come and do that. And I guess from there we also used to have a thing called a Flying Fox. That was the original precursor to what we would call a zip line today. And even around the early 2000s we had mountain biking, so a precursor to what you see today we had after the World Champs. So it's been a lot happen in the last wee while.
Absolutely. So how's the field down here? Because it's incredibly busy. You've got Crankworks right at your doorstep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's been extremely busy. It's been a massive summer for us. Lots of Kiwis coming and visiting, lots of locals coming and visiting, and that's just really great to see. Yeah, it's been really positive.
Absolutely. And are you looking forward to the influx of tourists that are going to be hitting these jumps here? Look at them behind us, aren't they scary?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll be riding any of those jumps, but I'd invite you to come along, Melanie, and try them. No, I think we're looking for a big influx of people to come to Rotorua for Crankworks. We're seeing really positive signs out of the accommodation sector. I know some of the viewers at home have been renting out their houses in batches for the event, so we're expecting a lot to be happening around that time. We're really gearing up now for a big event. Yeah. Absolutely.
But hey, it is your birthday after all, so let's go back. What's in it for us locals? What is it that we can take part in?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're still nailing a lot of that down, so you're going to see a lot of things happening over the next year to celebrate our 30th. We're going to be running out things like kids colouring competitions. We're looking into a locals day as well. We're taking part again in the ever popular Home and Leisure show. And we've got a few other little secret surprises we're working on as well around things like New Zealand Music Month and other festivals. So watch the space. Watch
this space. Well, there you have it, Rotorua. Guess what? It's their birthday, but we get to celebrate it too. So as Dave said, watch this space.
That was Rotorua Skyline Marketing Manager Dave Blackmore talking with Melanie Groves. To contact City News, you can phone the station on 07 3488 984 or email news@tvrotorua.co.nz. Thanks for joining us tonight. From the team here at City News, Paul Maria.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
City News on TV Rotorua was proudly brought to you by Trade Central.